All right, so this is another episode of Lessons. It is currently the 13th of November, 2025, 2024. I had a phone ringing somewhere. Okay, let's jump right into it. Lesson 481. Can't believe we have this many. The more physically evolved you become, the more spiritually evolved you become, and vice versa. They work hand in hand. You can't evolve with one without the other. A human is more spiritual than a cow. So that's something that's less physically evolved. And a cow is more spiritual than a carrot because the carrot is less physically evolved. The carrot is more spiritual than an atom. As I finished the run club this morning, I realized that there's some people that are ripped, like they have a six pack, but spiritually, they don't have that confidence. There's a bit of insecurity. They're worried about what people think. And that mismatch, despite them having a six pack, they're not really attracting people because of that. So that made me realize how your interior world has to grow with your exterior world. And if one grows at a faster pace, you're going to be held back to the one that's lower. So, like that person with the six pack, no matter how, like, let's say he has the perfect skin, has the most symmetrical face, has a ripped six pack, very big, very athletic, but he's very shy, timid, worried, cares about what people think, insecure. That's what's going to be holding him back. So you need to sort of like after I realized this, I was like, oh, I want to keep working on my body. I want to keep getting physically stronger, get more tolerant, get more healthier, because that's going to help me become more spiritually, um, it's going to help me spiritually grow. And previously, I wasn't too focused on my body and I was more focused on meditating, more focused on self-awareness, more focused on the interior. But I do feel like me focusing on my exterior has helped me grow further spiritually, interiorly. Yeah. Lesson 482. I like to travel in a serendipitous way. Like I was thinking about me and friends were talking about traveling, and I realized that, when I travel with friends, I'm most likely going to adapt to their travel style and adapt to their plans. And if I were asked, like, what's your travel style? I was like, yeah, like, how do I travel? Like, I like to travel with loosely held plans. I like to seek strangers, seek locals. I like to seek random side quests. I like to seek being invited to someone's home and having dinner in the house and getting the local sort of cuisine. And I was like, I like to travel serendipitously. That's probably the best way to categorize my traveling style. Lesson 483. Should you tell people you're broke if you're broke? Here's the three levels of how you can express that. One, you can keep it ambiguous. Say I'm doing okay. So you're basically lying to them and lying to yourself. Two, you can tell the truth. I'm running out of money. With number two, it's sort of like you're manifesting the fact that that's going to keep happening. And you also come off a bit weak to that person you told it to. And if that person's an investor, they're not going to want to give you money. And then there's three, you could tell the truth with strength. I've been bleeding out, but things are turning around. I can feel it. That's someone I'd want to invest money into. Someone that is honest, someone that is self-aware, and someone that is positive with conviction despite the toughness of the thing they honestly shared. So I think that's probably the best approach. And you're not lying to yourself and you're manifesting something positive. Lesson 484. Earning money outside a 9 to 5 equals control and freedom. And people are attracted to people with freedom, people who have the capacity to say yes to anything. And people are not attracted to someone that makes 200K a year, stuck working 80-hour weeks at a high-level corporate job. Person that doesn't have the capacity to say yes to things. Therefore, it isn't money that attracts girls. It's a man that has control/freedom over his or her own life. That's what's attractive. The ability to be at peace. The ability to not need to rush people out the door because you have to start your 9 to 5 job. The ability to go with the flow. And I think subconsciously people know that that ability has to be earned. You can't just be born with freedom. You're not born with this control over your life. It's something that has to be earned through hard work. I think people are attracted to me because I am able to say yes to things. I am able to adapt to things. And they know I'm able to do this despite having a very busy life, having a company, a lot of responsibilities. And that only makes it even more attractive. It's like, wow, like this person has control over his life despite all that responsibility. Versus someone that also has all that responsibility, but they're stuck in a corporate job and they're basically a slave and they don't have say over their own life. That is definitely not as attractive. So what I learned from that, it's like girls aren't attracted to money, they're attracted to someone who has control and freedom over their own life. Lesson 485. Most people, including me, project, disown, and tag their horrid traits onto others so that you're convinced that you're free from that horrid trait and that it's a problem that other people have. Whatever makes you angry, realize that that is a trait that you've given and tagged to that person, and it originates from your own shadow. So let me think of an example. Let's say I'm frustrated that someone thinks they're better than me, so they are purposely not reaching out to me and purposely distancing themselves from me with the goal of trying to turn the tables and have me reach out to them. If that is causing me frustration, and I'm like, man, that person thinks he's so good. That person he doesn't thinks he's better than me. That person thinks I need him. I need to flip that mirror. It's like, huh, I think I'm better than people. I think I don't need to reach out to people. I think I use absence and isolation to turn the tables. Oh my God. So, like, the thing I'm angry at, I'm just angry at myself for doing that. Now, I think, what does that lead to? First step is owning it. Okay, like I'm angry not at my friend, but I'm angry at myself because I do that too. Now, I do it because it's sort of like now I'm trying to think like let's say I accept it. I own, okay, this is something I do, so I shouldn't be a hypocrite. Oh, now the anger fizzles away. I'm now no longer frustrated at this person because I realize that I do it as well, and it'll be hypocritical of me to judge that person for doing so. So all of a sudden, the anger goes away, the frustration goes away. Now I feel like at peace. It's like, oh, he's just doing what I do. How can I be angry at someone for doing what I do? So now the anger fizzles away. And then I think depending on the issue, you can then decide if you want to change or not. But I think from where I stand, I'm quite busy. And if I do reach out to people, it's usually people that are mentors, people that are ahead of me in life. And that's where I put my reaching out energy to, people who I adapt to and sort of facilitate. Um, that's more than enough. They don't need me reaching out to them to make them feel seen. When they reach out to me, I make them feel seen. So I don't have to change. Like me going through the exercise and me owning that was able to fizzle away the anger and frustration, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have to change anything I'm doing. But the fact that I'm able to remove that frustration and anger is already a huge weight off my shoulder that makes make this exercise worth it. Lesson 486. You know you've grown when your like-minded friends are no more like-minded. This is very relevant to the current phase I'm going through. Every year, I go through like a phase of like growing pains. It's like a transitionary phase. And it transitions into this sort of pocket of like, wow, like I'm meeting so many like-minded people. These people are so cool. Like, where have these people been? I feel so seen. It's like on the same wavelength. And then after time, over 6 months, 8 months, that fizzles away. I start feeling less and less relatable, less and less seen. Um, the conversations become less and less like wow and amazing, and they become less and less like-minded. And that is just a sign that I've grown. I think this is something I've gotten awareness of because every time I've gone through these cycles, I would just be confused of like, what is happening? Like, why aren't we as close? Like, why is this person not meeting the bar? Not realizing that, oh, I've just grown more. I've just increased the bar. The person is still meeting all Andy's, like a year ago, Andy's bar, but currently I've been growing and the bar keeps getting higher and I'm wanting more from conversations and interactions and yeah, it's so when you are no longer if your like-minded friends become no longer like-minded, I just want to let you know that it's a sign that you've grown and it's okay, it's normal, and it's time for you to attract more like-minded people, that new set of like-minded people. And that doesn't mean you have to give up and cut out your old friends. They still play an integral part of your life. They still fit in different pieces. Find where they fit them in on where they can fit in. They still play an important role in your life. So find a way to integrate them into your life. Lesson 488. It's time to lock in. That doesn't mean work 16-hour days. I still believe in a solid 7 to 8 hour each day, 7 days a week. But with every other hour, you need to be locked in as well. Sit straight, walk properly, focus on the present, go to bed on time, wash dishes as efficiently as possible, watch the podcast with the intent to learn something. That's that's how you lock in 24/7. Lesson 489. A spider that is staying away in the exact same spot doesn't get disturbed. Like, I'm not going to go ahead and kill that spider. It's a spider that's moving around, going onto my work table, going into my bedroom, going to my wardrobe. That's a spider that gets fucked up. That's a spider that I end up killing. So the conclusion is stay in your own zone. Stay doing your own thing. Don't keep trying to move around and see what everyone else is up to. Because you're just going to tread on people's toes. Focus on you. Do you. Don't outreach. Don't try to get into other people's worlds or lanes. If invited, say yes. And that's how you be the spider that doesn't get touched or disturbed. So I think I want to continue doing my own thing, saying yes to when things come inbound. Don't do any outbound. Meet people at where they're at. Don't expect anything more. Match people's energy. Find ways to integrate people as is into my life. Um, and if I do that, I'm not gonna cause any friction or step on any toes. Lesson 490. Really need to pee. Be right back. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Lesson 490. There's a difference from being dissatisfied that your friends aren't meeting the bar versus seeing with clarity that you've outgrown them. This is something that I've been struggling with over the last 1 to 2 months, where a lot of my friends just weren't meeting the bar. They weren't meeting the expectations. They weren't able to reciprocate what I brought to the table, and it was causing me a lot of um, dissatisfaction. And then now I'm transitioning to a point of like, I've just outgrown them. I've you know, outgrown them. I've become a more giving person, a more caring person, a more thoughtful person, a person with more capacity, um, doing more interesting things that I want to do and they don't have the capacity to say yes to. That clarity really gave me a lot of peace and solace. So just knowing that, like, I've just outgrown them and but I'm still integrating into my life and they still play a key role and and yeah, that clarity was really very valuable to me. So I want to share it so that if you feel like you're dissatisfied with friends, maybe you just outgrown them and that's okay. Lesson 491. Three criteria for balanced equal friendship. There needs to be one, an equal capacity to say yes to each other. Two, an equal amount of adaptability for each other. Three, an equal depth of support for each other. Every time I've grown, I would meet new people that was able to do these three things. But then most of the times I keep growing, I keep, doing my thing, and then it becomes no longer equal. I end up being, doing more. I end up having a higher capacity to say yes, and they have a lesser capacity. I end up being able to be more supportive, and they're becoming less and less have the capacity to support me when I call them. Um, and I'm becoming more and more adaptable to their schedule and their needs, and they're not able to have the capacity to be adaptable to my needs. That's a sign that I've outgrown the person. Now, the confusing thing is because the relationship starts as you guys are both equals. And now I've sort of become this sort of like older brother, but the fact that I'm maybe younger or the fact that we started the relationship as equals, that isn't really seen. And they still view the relationship as if you're equals, but it's not. And that causes a lot of friction because first impressions stick. How the dynamic of how a relationship started usually sticks. you have to sort of become two, three tiers more evolved, more grown, more head for them to be like, oh shit, like actually, this is no longer an equal peer, but this is someone that is like an older person that I now come to for help. Um, and I'm starting to realize this. And this thought of what creates an equal friendship has given me a lot of clarity. It's made me realize, huh, this relationship is no longer equal. I've outgrown that. Now, lesson 492. From now on, whenever I get angry at someone, I'll see what parts of me I'm actually angry about. Because when you're angry at someone, if you're truly at peace, you wouldn't be angry. But the fact that something's off, that's what's making you angry. To try to figure out what's that thing that is off. And most likely it's a reflection of exactly what you're angry about. If you're angry at someone for, let's say, kicking you out the house early because they have to get to work. You know, you're angry at the fact that they don't have enough time for you. You're angry at the fact that they can't facilitate you more. So that's what you're angry at them at. But what you're actually angry at is you're angry at yourself for needing more care. You're angry at yourself for needing more time and support. You're angry at yourself for now you're angry at yourself for being not as independent as you thought. You're angry at yourself for being dependent on others. You're angry at yourself for needing others. That's what you're really angry about. You're not angry about the fact that, hey, that person kicked me out of their house early because they had to start their 9 to 5 job. You're angry at yourself for needing that. You're angry at yourself um for being a needy person. So that was a great live example on how if you're angry at someone, see what parts or what you and once you accept it, it's like, oh wow, like I am a needy person. I am a person that needs people's care and attention and love and validation. I need people's validation. Once you own it, that's when you can grow from it and improve and work on it. So really own it versus when you're being angry at someone, you're passing it off. You're giving away that horrid trait and you're distancing and disowning it. So now you can't really heal from it. You can't really grow from it. Lesson 493. Here is the secret ingredient to having people love your conversations. Not only do you have to be curious, a great listener, and an ability to dig, the secret ingredient is not needing the conversation because there are people who need your value. There are people who need to hear your trauma. There's people who need to be relied on. You know, to someone who's in tune with their feelings, they'll feel something's off with the conversation. Therefore, when having conversations, come from a place of not needing it. Lesson 494. Frustration at friends is actually a sign of growth, whereas being at peace with friends for who they are as is a sign that you successfully made the leap to the next level. Yeah, it is tough. Ah, getting to that next level is tough because you are the average of the people you spend time with. People usually drag you down to their level. But once you've made that leap, you've hit that next checkpoint. And the tough point is if you're surrounded by people who also grow, but they just grow at a slower pace, then they're going to slowly creep up to that checkpoint. And then you'll be there and you'll be pulled back to that initial checkpoint when you're trying to get to that next checkpoint. And now you're going to be seen as like the relationship is going to average downwards. And there isn't a clear like next level gap. So you're constantly frustrated. Yes, it's hard to explain. But if you're frustrated with someone, it's a sign that you're growing ahead of them, but it's not ahead enough. The gap isn't far enough to get you to that next level where you're just content with who they are as a person. You're not expecting, you know what to expect from them. You know where they're at in life. You don't have any expectations. You don't expect them to be able to support you or have your back or really pull through. You expect them to be, for example, you expect that friend to be someone that checks in every 6 months, that friend that has nothing but good things to say about you behind your back, that friend that cares about you, that friend that looks up and respects you. And that friend is amazing. Like that's what he does, and that's what I can expect. And I love him as is. I don't want anything more. But when there's a friend that I initially was equal with, he was able to say yes to things. We're doing so many things together. We have these deep conversations. Um, I could call him, and he would have the capacity to really listen to the problems I was dealing with. Was able to relate to the problems. And as I keep growing, maybe the things I'm now inviting are out of his comfort zone, or I'm starting to do more things. Hence, I'm sort of doing more fringe things that he might not be interested in. I'm also now growing to a point where maybe a lot of my problems are becoming less and less relatable. So he has less and less ability to relate. Um, I'm growing in capacity so that as a result, he can always call me and I'm always ready to pick up the phone and hear him out. But it won't work the other way around like it used to because his capacity is getting maxed out. Or maybe I'm requiring a much higher level of attention and presence when I am sharing my problems. Whereas previously, I was very content with what I was getting currently and at that time. But once I can see that, oh, wow, this is a sign I'm outgrowing my friend. Let's take a step back. Let's focus on myself. Let's start growing and get to that next level. Just appreciate my friend for who he is, where he's at, um, and not have any of those extra expectations. Lesson 495. Long day, no big wins, spent time on two different calls, was chatting with two close friends. I felt us growing apart, left the course feeling empty, feeling lonely and not seen, feeling down and out. Those two calls, meetings, like those sales calls, but the leads just weren't qualified. So there wasn't any potential of a potential sale. As I took a step back and got present, I realized how this period is a piece of my journey. It's an integral piece. It's required. So go along with it. If possible, enjoy it. Notice it as an integral part of my journey. I'll get to my next part. I want to stop bashing the current situation, the current pain. So, for example, right now there's a lot of uncertainty. I'm still trying to figure out YouTube. The video I put in a lot of effort didn't blow up as I thought it would. Um, I'm uncertain of success. I'm now starting to doubt myself. The grant money is not do it'll give me a few like a solid sort of 6 month runway, but it's dwindling fast. Anxiety's creeping in. But you know what? This tough, confusing period, it's an integral part of the journey. Like I have to go through this to get to that next chapter of sunshine and greeny grass. Um, so I appreciate this because I can't get to there without this. I have to go through this period, so I might as well try and enjoy it and embrace it. Um, and I think when I'm sort of shifting my mindset to this, it makes it a bit easier to go through. It gives me a bit more faith that this is just a piece in the whole puzzle. I still have that doubt, like, what if I run out of money? What if things really don't pan out? Yeah. So that doubt is still there, but this doubt is an integral part of the journey. It's an integral part of the growth. So I need to appreciate and embrace that doubt and that unsureness. Because how can you get to a point of full conviction, full faith, full confidence that things are truly going to work out? It's through constantly beating doubts again and again and again and again and again. So if I don't have this doubt, then I won't be able to get to that point of pure conviction, confidence, and stability. The doubts is what's needed to get me there. So I should be thankful to these doubts. So yeah, that's lesson 495. Another episode down. Pretty excited with these weekly reviews. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.